I said previously that I had a lot of priorities to take care of in 1995. Doyle took care of Snow. He really wasn't a priority. But there is somebody that does rate a little bit higher on my list of things to get rid of in 95. While I was out on suspension, I kind of had a fire burning inside of me to take care of some things in 95. Irish Bobby Clancy, you stinking little leprechaun. I got to admit, I let you do something to me that I don't let happen very often. I let you get under my skin. We all know that Arrogant Onus Apollo carried Canadian Lightning to great heights, and then you backstabbed him. I had to grab that boy, and I had to show him what was right. I had to let him know that he was the Lightning in Canadian Lightning. He saw the light, and he's on my side right now. But you know what, Clancy? You're not the brightest guy in the world. Neither is old Fatso Scott D'Amore. In fact, while I wasn't around, I was still working with Arrogant Otis. He weaseled his way into that inner circle, back in, to work with those two gooses, Canadian Lightning, back at the end of 94. Boys, it wasn't nothing more than to get a payday, and you know I got my share of that, even though I wasn't around. It just goes to show how stinking stupid you are. Well, Bobby Clancy, Otis is back, and he's back on my side, as he's always been. Coming up later on today, you're going to see what's going to happen to Bobby Clancy and anybody else that gets in the way of the Gypsy and my people in 1995. And you backstabbing Coach Kurt, you'd better keep your nose out of this one, mister, or you're going to see what's going to come to you, and it's going to be twice as bad as what happened. Well, they said it was going to be a cold day in the Motor City before they allowed the Gypsy back in Motor City and Border City Wrestling. Well, guess what, kids? It's the middle of winter. It's as cold as Jesus out here, and I'm back. Motor Mouth Commissioner Terry Moore and his counterpart over in Windsor, Fatso Chuck Fader, they conspired to keep me out of the Motor City and Border City promotions for most and pretty much half of 1994. But it's a new year, and it's going to be a good year for the Gypsy and everybody involved with me. When I got back, I found that everybody except my man Mickey Doyle, modest Mickey Doyle, if you will, was out of the rankings. And they really couldn't ignore Mickey because he is the Can-Am champion. Even though I wasn't involved in Motor City and Border City Wrestling in 94, I was still able to pull some strings. Mickey Doyle had that match against Al Snow scheduled for back in October. I got that delayed till I could get back in 95. And you all saw what happened last week. Well, Mickey Doyle is a priority. Al Snow, you're not. I got a pecking order of things that I'm going to take care of in 1995. We started with you, Snow. And things are just going to get better and better and hotter in 1995. Where do you see what's coming up?
Border City Wrestling are in town.
Well, it's your privilege to be part of another Gypsy Sewer segment, as they like to call it. What you're looking at here are going to be a couple of topics of discussion today. First off, a few months back, I made some disparaging comments about Motor City Wrestling Commissioner Terry Moore. I called the man a clown. Well, Commissioner Moore, I'm sorry. I've got to offer you my apologies for that, because since that time, I've had quite a few dealings with Border City Wrestling Commissioner Chuck Fader. And Mr. Moore, you are not a clown, sir, because I've seen Mr. Fader in action or not taking any action. Chuck Fader of Border City Wrestling is the true clown. Now that that's out of the way, look at this. The Gypsy is laid up with another injury. I know that makes a lot of people happy. You people at the Michigan State Fair saw how this happened. The people on Continental Cablevision have not seen how this happened. Let's go to the tape.
Oh, that was
nice shot.
Great right-handed
Nice shot.
And look at referee Gene Lyons threatening to send the Gypsy away. He's threatening to... wait a minute. What the heck's going on here? Look out. What is going on here? What's going on here?
Whoa! The coach got involved. What did I... Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Well, just as last time, when I was attacked coming out of a club by Coach Kurt and Mad Max Anthony, when they broke my finger and my wrist, there was no tape of the incident. And again, by plan or whatever, you could not clearly see it, but I was physically manhandled and abused by Motor City Wrestling referee A.T. Huck. I was thrown violently outside the ring at the Michigan State Fair, and I broke my foot. But again, of course I can't prove it because they made sure they did not get it on tape. Well, I'll tell you what. I had some witnesses this time. There were several hundred people at the State Fair who saw this happen. I was manhandled by a Motor City Wrestling official. I was manhandled by an official licensed by the state of Michigan at the Michigan State Fair. So I'll tell you what. I've got to decide which lawsuit I'm going to pursue first. Whether it's going to be the lawsuit against Motor City Wrestling for having one of their officials break my foot, or whether it's that lawsuit I'm going to bring against the state of Michigan because it was one of their state-assigned officials who did this to me, and it happened at the Michigan State Fair, a state-sponsored event. If you keep up on current events, you can see that the director of the fair has already had to resign over this incident, and there's going to be more to follow. But I'll tell you what, I'm a reasonable person. I think we can settle this outside of court, and I'll tell you how. I'll be the first to admit I'm not a wrestler. Well, I can handle myself pretty good in the ring, but I'm not a wrestler. A.T. Huck, I think he'd like to be a wrestler. He's always getting in my face and trying to push me around, but he's not a wrestler either. So I think the best way that we can settle this, and this is what I want a match signed by Motor City Wrestling that will put me in the ring, the Gypsy, against A.T. Huck, one-on-one. Now, I don't care if it's a scaffold match on a thing like this, whether it's a lumberjack match. In fact, I'd prefer that to make sure that he can't run. Heck, you can put us in a cage. I don't care what it is. I want Motor City Wrestling Commissioner Terry Moore to put a contract together. I will sign it. I want Huck to sign it. I want Huck in a match, and we're going to settle this score. I may have a broken foot now, but there's going to be a much higher price for Huck to pay once we get things settled in the ring. Now, that's out of the way. I want that done, Commissioner Moore. You understand?
We're about ready to get out of here tonight. We've enjoyed ourselves immensely. Well, actually, it's been fun hanging around you two, but that's neither here nor there. I'm getting tired of all these snot-nosed kids we're dealing with. But we just want to say one more thing before we go. You seen those commercials on TV where they drop the egg in the frying pan? And this is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. This is Coach Kurt. This is Coach Kurt after the Gypsy stable gets done with him. Go! Go!
Cowabunga, dude!
Have a great Halloween, everybody.
Have a safe Halloween!
Come on, all right.
Ouch!
Everybody.
Have a safe Halloween!
Come on, all right. Come on.
Ouch! Oh my gosh! What a splitting headache! What was that? Excedrin, Tylenol? Take 2. 4, 6, I don't know. Why don't we appreciate? Coach Kurt! Coach Kurt! That's going to be one.
Marks thrown my way by Irish Mickey Doyle. Now, this is one tough man. This is a cripple who right now is not even wrestling as far as I'm aware because he's out with injuries. The only injury this guy has is that he's brain dead. He's old. He's always hurt. He doesn't have a lick of sense in his head. I'll tell you what, Doyle, you're a tough man. You're a tough man when you're behind a microphone. You can say whatever you want about the Gypsy's personal life, my preferences, whatever. I don't like it. And it's not funny, man. It's not funny. But I'll tell you what, I will settle something here as well. Because you're telling everybody that you want to get back into the ring. Well, when you get back in the ring, mister, we have an open contract waiting for you. I've got the true dirty white boy of professional wrestling, the nastiest player in the game, and that's Killer Canaric. Killer Canaric has an open contract to get you into the ring. And as soon as the Motor City Wrestling doctors rule that you are healthy enough to get back into the ring, I want you. Again, I'm not a wrestler, so I'm not going to try to settle this with you, but I control a couple of wrestlers that play the game real dirty, mister. And if you want to shoot your mouth off at me, I've got some guys who are going to stick up for the Gypsy. And Doyle, kind of looks like Irish Mickey right here. When Canaric gets through with you, he's going to squeeze and squeeze and squeeze your head until your brains go pop like a grape. That's it for this Gypsy Sewer segment. I'm going to have myself a donut. We'll see ya.